Hey there, Aquarius. Welcome to your reading. This is going to be a 5 tips from your future self for before 2024. These are life-changing tips from your future self. So if you want to change your life, then this is the reading for you. You have this loss card. It says major phase of your life is ending. Embrace the newness. The grief of loss continues to be an obstacle in your life. So if you have experienced loss, I feel it's time to kind of take control. Yeah, you even have the Two of Wands as your first card here. And the Two of Wands, the guy is normally standing at the top of the Two of Wands, and he's celebrating. Or I mean, he's, I said celebrating because you have the Six of Wands next, but, he's kind of standing there. He's got the whole world in his hands. He's grabbing onto that front wand, but he's actually looking out in front of him. He's not looking at that world that is in his hands. And it kind of says that he's stuck in a comfort zone a little bit. He kind of rushed to a finish line. He thinks he's experienced everything that there is to experience, but he has the whole world in his hands. He has, he can have more unique experiences. He's not stuck. And I kind of feel that for you. I'm wondering, for some of you, this could be a relationship loss that you have experienced, because you have this this is actually the Five of Wands, but this deck is called the In-Between Tarot, and it represents in between two energies. So this is the Five of Wands to the Six of Wands. It's kind of funny that there's two people who are being crowned here on the Six of Wands. So for some of you, it's like you could have experienced a loss with a person, but I feel like the two of you actually, if you did, were brought into each other's lives to level each other up, and maybe the loss is the thing that has leveled the two of you up. So I know that was like a mouthful, but I kind of feel that's what's going on here, is that some of you have kind of had to release a burden. You have the Ten of Wands right here, and in the form of like a person. It's like maybe they weren't a bad person, take it how it resonates, but maybe it just had to be released for whatever reason. Maybe it was causing burdens. Again, I think there are times where a positive relationship can cause burdens. Like a relationship can be really great, but at the same time, if you're with a person who just works all the time and doesn't have enough time for you, it could be a good relationship, but still a burden. Long distance relationships as well, right? It's like, it's good, but if the two of you can never see each other, then it's also bad at the same time. So I kind of have that. I don't know why I'm saying this, but it's popping into my head here, Aquarius. Maybe you know why I'm saying this. You could have been dealing with a situation like that here, and I feel like if this first row is just basically saying that what you're dealing with at this time, you could still be feeling this connection, or you could be just saying to yourself like, wow, that there were things that weren't great, but I still miss it, which is fine. But at the same time, I feel you could be holding yourself back from, getting your crown here with this Six of Wands. You see these two people are being crowned, but they're back to back, and it's also the Five of Wands, so the Five of Wands is a card of conflict and competition. I don't think you're going to be competing with this person if it's a person, but I do feel like you're moving on from it just in general. For others, again, if this wasn't a relationship, by the way, I just feel it's time for you to take the lead on something that will lead to a lot of success. I feel like you're making things too hard right now. Ten of Wands. This is the Ten of Wands to the Ace of Wands, and then you have the Ace of Wands here as well, which is very interesting. So I feel like there are like things that are inspiring you to action. I feel like there are things that are inspiring you to take action, to do new things with your life, to make changes. And I feel like you need to follow your inspirations at this time. I think it's critically important that Aquarius specifically follows their inspirations. I think it's true for everyone, but definitely you at this time. We have Pluto going into Aquarius, so I feel, at the end of this year, beginning of next year, whatever, and I feel that there could be a lot of inspirational moments. The problem with inspiration, it's nothing. You could just get excited by an idea, but you have to make it happen. So I really feel that for a lot of you. With the Two of Wands, you have this Principles card here. I'm wondering, the two of you could have had very different principles as well in life. It's like, again, sometimes we can be with a person, they're not necessarily a bad person, but maybe we just have different ideas about how life works or whatever, and it is what it is. So I feel like you're kind of moving on. We are in a time of principles as well. Uranus and Taurus, Jupiter and Taurus, definitely all about kind of morals, values, really. But I would say principles and values are kind of like the same thing. With the Five of Wands, you have this intuition card. Yeah, I feel like you need to trust your intuition here as well. So again, some of you, if this was an issue with a person, maybe you were intuitively guided away from it. I don't know. I just believe that things that are meant to work will work. So it's like, even if sometimes I think we were meant to work out with a person, but if it didn't work, it wasn't meant to work, plain and simple. So, I think you need to trust your intuition on that with this intuition card. With the Ten of Wands, you have the Fortune card. Yes, there are definitely good fortunes coming in for you. We see a lot of very fortunate cards in this reading, just in general. Ace of Wands. You have the Queen of Pentacles to the King of Pentacles, the Chariot. I mean, really, really good stuff. So, I feel like you're kind of heading towards a lot of success. I also do feel there could be a fire sign coming in for you if you want love. Next, you have this wintertime card. It says frozen in time, a need for constructive seclusion. So I feel for some of you, you do need constructive seclusion here, just in general. Not in the wintertime, just right now. So whenever you're watching this reading, constructive seclusion would be time where you're spending time on yourself, for a specific reason. You even have the Page of Pentacles here, and Page of Pentacles is a card of studiousness. So I feel like the tip here from your future self, if you want to change your life between now and 2024, is to educate yourself or to take time to learn new skills about whatever you want. Honestly, I kind of feel like anything you want to bring meaning to in your life, anything you want to get something out of, I would, kind of take some time to learn about it. You have the Four of Wands, the Page of Pentacles, and the Eight of Pentacles. The Four of Wands, of course, can be marriage, but this is the Four of Wands to the Five of Wands. So you kind of technically have the Five of Wands here twice. But maybe some of you are conflicted about relationships in general. You could be just trying to make up your mind about what you want in relationships. So maybe you need to seclude yourself. Maybe you need to be alone. Like if you haven't been alone for a long time and you've always been with a person, I kind of get that your future self is saying, hey, it might be a good time to really figure out what you want. Maybe it's a really good time to figure out even who you are. When we get into a relationship, sometimes we change who we are, right? We form to meet the needs of the other person. We're not even ourselves anymore sometimes. So then we have to explore ourselves. We have to learn who we are all over again. And I feel like some of you, something maybe has become too much a part of your identity. And so maybe that's why you need to spend some time figuring out what you like in life and what experiences you want to have. If you're always entering into a relationship, it can make it hard. And this could also be a job, though, as well, or, a business. Sometimes, as well, I feel like if you're stuck in business, sometimes I think we just try so much to get something to work, and then it doesn't work, that the failure becomes part of our identity. I was there for 4 years, right? And I always talk about being stuck for 4 years of my life. And, it's I developed this identity where I would try new things. I always say I wasn't doing anything, but I was actually working my ass off, trying new things, learning a lot. But failure became such a part of my identity that I actually created this other identity of myself where it's I wouldn't even start something because I would just assume that it would fail. And, you can get stuck there. So I feel this is saying take control of your identity. I don't know, it keeps popping into my head. You have the Page of Pentacles, again, great time to learn. What I would say here is if you've been trying to get something to be successful for a long time and it hasn't been successful, I would learn about it, whatever it is, business, love, whatever. I feel like your future self is encouraging you to educate yourself. You have the Eight of Pentacles to the Nine of Pentacles. Again, might be a good time for you to be alone for some time. Again, not forever, just for a short period of time to figure out who you are. I'm sure you've all met someone who can't be alone, who's always jumping from relationship to relationship. And again, those people, again, it's not always true, but they can become lost. They can lose their identity. So I kind of feel for some of you, it's definitely talking about that. The Eight of Pentacles is hard work. So some of you could be needing to work, or you could be needing to put your energy into work to create something. I would also say, if you're working on something specific, I feel like there's a lot of success coming in for you here. You have that Fortune card right next to it right here. And, the Fortune card is Leo, but it has a sun on it. And we are in a time of attention. I keep telling you, if I were an Aquarius, and I pretty much am, I'm an Aquarius rising, right? Close enough. I would say I would try to get as much attention as you possibly can in work, in business, in career, any of that stuff, because that will lead to a lot of success there for you. With the Four of Wands, you have this Riches card. Yes, definitely, I'd be focusing on your own success right now. Funny enough, in the playing card reading system, the Five of Wands is the Five of Clubs, and the Five of Clubs is actually in the birth card reading system. The Five of Clubs is a card of the millionaire. So Five of Wands, Five of Clubs, same thing. And you have this Riches card. It's, this is Saturn and Capricorn, this card. So it does represent hard work or needing to put work into whatever it is you're creating, and education. We had Saturn and Capricorn back in 2016 and then for a few years. So, what I would say is that, even during the time of Saturn and Capricorn, I was always telling people to educate themselves, to try new things, to try different things and all that other stuff, because it's super important to educate yourself. And, that's what I would do if you were trying to become successful. With the Page of Pentacles, you have this egotism card here. I would be careful of ego just in general. People who have egos, things like that with this energy. With the Eight of Pentacles, you have this flattery card. See, you need to figure out what you want. You can see these two faces. They're facing away from each other. These two faces in the middle are facing towards each other. And I feel like you need to figure out what causes you to grow, what makes you happy, what brings you joy. And some of you might need to go on a journey to explore that between now and the end of the year. Like that, I kind of really feel that there are riches in doing that. Maybe not money. It could just be abundance in general or happiness or whatever. But I feel like your future self right here really wants you to kind of go on this period of exploration of finding something that brings you fulfillment, or multiple things. Could be hobbies, could be businesses, could be things that you work on. It could be the store that you go to. And that sounds ridiculous, but it's true. It's like if every time you go in there, it stinks, then don't go there anymore. Find somewhere else to go, right? Maybe you hate shopping. Use Instacart, right? It's like, I don't know, do something here that makes you happy. And also explore, find out what makes you happy. It's like we're not stuck, right, for the most part. So, I feel for a lot of you, this is encouraging exploration for happiness. Next, and then you will become more happy. Then you will attract more happiness into your life. Next, for the next tip, you have this card that says, see the good in what you call bad. Nothing in your suffering is meaningless. One of my favorite people of all time, Eric Thomas, the hip-hop preacher, he says, at the end of pain is success. The problem is most people don't get their success. They just go through pain and they don't get the reward from it. So I feel for a lot of you, this is saying, hey, there are rewards to what you have been through, but you have to make sure that you get those rewards. So part of that is during a breakup, you have to look at it and say, what did I learn from this? There's your goal. Then you take that forward to another relationship and you avoid whatever the problem was. Or if there were warning signs that you didn't pay attention to, for example, then you take that forward when you're dating people in the future. If they show those warning signs, then this is a warning sign. I need to pay attention to this and not date this person because they are a cheater. It doesn't matter how good they look with their clothes off, right? Doesn't matter. They give all these warning signs. Time to move on, right? So that's what I would say there. And I need to be okay being alone, right? Which we also talked about. So I don't need to date this person. So I feel like you need to pay attention to that. Trust me, I get comments every single day where people are like, everybody's a cheater. I'm like, no, you just haven't learned how to listen. It's like every single person that's cheated on me, they told me exactly what was going to happen, right? I just didn't listen. So again, I think people show us exactly who they are very, very quickly. I don't buy any of these excuses. Trust me, I see all the TikToks, all the stuff where people are like, oh, he turned into this monster, or she turned into this monster. I'm like, no, they were like that person from day one. Nobody just turns into a monster, right? You just didn't pay attention to the warning signs, plain and simple. And so, I don't know. What I would say here is pay attention. And again, if we pay attention, if we say, okay, what is the lesson here? What is the good thing that I can get out of this? Then we don't run into those things where we're just like, oh my God, the sky is falling. I can't pay attention to anything that anyone does. And I just let things happen to me, right? That's not the world you want to live in. So, what I'd say here is look at the things you went through. What did you get from it so that you can take it forward? You have the Chariot, definitely a victory coming in for you here. Again, your victory is actually very clear. It's right here below it, the Ace of Wands. So, I want to talk about the Chariot first. The Chariot is about taking control. And so part of taking control is, again, seeing the good, seeing the bad, and, looking at the places in your life where maybe you have suffered and saying to yourself, what can I get out of this situation? Where is the gold? Don't just suffer. Look at the situation and say, what did I learn? What could I get out of this? How could I avoid it in the future? All those things. And if you do that, then you are taking control of your life with the Chariot. You have the Ace of Wands here. Again, Ace of Wands out with the old, in with the new. So I do feel there's something very exciting coming in for you. The Ace of Wands comes up a lot. I will say, pretty much everyone gets the Ace of Wands nowadays. And I always say that the Ace of Wands is kind of like a spark of inspiration or like a spark of hope. It's something that we kind of need to pay attention to. It's, it's kind of like one of those things where the Ace of Wands can just be, we get excited by a new idea that we hear about, or, maybe you're it could come from anything. Could come from like a commercial, right? Maybe you're watching something on TV and a commercial pops up about some idea and it gives you an idea. So again, it's kind of like nebulous, the Ace of Wands. It's something that doesn't exist, you know? It only exists through inspiration. We feel inspired to do something. So again, follow your inspirations. We are in a time where I believe we really need to do this extra more than we normally do because it's going to lead to success. You have the Justice card. I feel like the universe is trying to balance things out, you know, here. So I feel like things are balancing out in your life. And I also feel you need to pay attention to cause and effect. Like if you put energy into something, what do you get out of it? You know, in all areas of your life, you know, relationships, businesses, you know, pretty much everything. So I would pay close attention to you know, the energy that you are receiving here in your life. Let's see. With the Chariot, you have this influence card. Yeah, well, I don't like this going this way. You have that Fortune card to the egotism card to the influence card. So again, I would be careful of, you know, I would just be careful of people who have big egos. I would also be careful of people who are easily influenced. Oh, sorry, I thought I switched. So, you know, maybe you start dating a person and maybe they seem like they're, you know, there could be certain influences on the connection. Again, that might be a warning sign for you. That could just be the lesson that you have learned, is to be careful of people who have certain influences in their life. Could be drugs, alcohol, but it could also be certain things like toxic people in their life who don't support them, friends who tell them to you know, to not get married, or who don't support their relationships or whatever, right? It's like I see all this stuff. So it's like it could be anything, but you know, I would be careful of the people who have influences, although I kind of feel like it's a past person. With the Ace of Wands, yes, you have this convention card. Every single person has had this card. You know, really, I think this is the one little speed bump that we all need to get over is convention. Again, Pluto and Aquarius, you know, for 20 years moving forward after this year, I should say. And you know, convention is going to be the enemy of progress. Experience is going to be the currency of the future. So, you know, I keep telling people to break free from convention. Convention is the way things have always been done. I think for the most part, we should be doing what works in life, right? So that's convention, is doing what has always worked. But I also say like at least 20% of the time I would be experimenting. These new readings that I'm doing, total experiment. The thumbnails that I put on this video, total experiment. It's like I experiment literally a billion times a day, right? I'm starting a whole new channel all about experimentation. It's changed my life significantly, and I feel like it can change your life too, and it's free. It's like, that's the best part about it. It doesn't cost any money to experiment and try something new for the most part. But again, if you get stuck doing the same thing every day, day in, day out, you're just going to be stuck. So, you know, I feel Ace of Wands says follow inspiration. Again, most of the ideas I come up with are inspirations. I just get a random Ace of Wands idea to do something, and I try it. It's just that simple, right? With the Justice card, you have this Order card, and, you know, again, kind of similar to the Convention card, but I do feel there's a certain order that you need to follow, so do things in order. But I also feel like you are bringing more order to your life by, again, paying attention to the lessons that you have learned, getting the success from the pain, like I said earlier. Next, you have this Deer Spirit, says, bring a gentle touch. This card always gives me, like, Empress vibes, so I kind of feel Empress vibes here. You could be creating something new, or you could be birthing something into the world, and I feel like this is going to be a good thing. But what I will say is that you have the Eight of Swords to the Nine of Swords here. I do not, to me, the Nine of Swords is the worst card in the tarot. The Eight of Swords says you need to set yourself free, but the Nine of Swords is like a round-around situation. So we're going to clarify this, but what I will say also is that you go like this. You go convention to the Nine of Swords, basically, and you know, convention, again, I think that's the one thing that will keep you stuck, so don't be afraid to try new things. You have the Queen of Pentacles here. Queen of Pentacles is about resourcefulness. Again, I think we're in a time of resourcefulness where we need to find resources, or we need to look for other ways of doing things. This is probably like one of the quickest ways to become successful right now, is even if you feel like you don't have the money or the time or whatever, is like finding a way to do what you want to do is going to lead to a lot of success. So it's just that simple. And you're going to have to be resourceful. You know, you're going to have to, maybe you don't have the money to start a business, but you could probably start it without money. You could probably use other people's money, or you probably could crowdfund your business or something. It's like you have to, you know, look for another way to do it. Same thing with relationships as well. It's like maybe you're sick and tired of all the cheaters, but really it's like maybe you're just not looking for people who don't cheat, or you have to look in a different location. You have to be resourceful. You have the Page of Swords here. You know, again, Page of Swords is a card of being a detective, and I feel now would be a really good time for you to kind of like put your detective cap on, to look for other ways of doing things in life. That's what's going to lead to the most success. Page 4 is also like childlike energy, and children ask a lot of questions, and I feel it would be an amazing time for you to be curious, to ask a lot of questions. If you don't know the answer to something, Google it, right? You can, or search it on YouTube, whatever your question is. This card went flying out of the deck there, this concentration card. So it's definitely time for you to concentrate on, new things or things that you're trying to create in your life. But let's see. With the Eight of Swords, you have the health card. Every single person has had the health card. I would definitely, don't be paranoid, but I would definitely watch your health, stay healthy, do things that make you feel healthy and all this other stuff. And, I think you'll be more productive and more successful. It's I've really been strict about my diet and everything this year, and it's I feel a million times better. I quit drinking last year as well, pretty much halfway through last year or whatever. Again, I wasn't a big drinker to begin with, but I would drink from time to time, right? And it's amazing, what change, the reason I talk about it now is because, I feel the change significantly. I don't always feel like crap, so I'm way more productive. And I kind of feel like that's what this is saying. I'm not telling you what to do here, do whatever you want, but, again, I do think watching your health would be a good idea. With the Queen of Pentacles, you cannot make this stuff up. Look at what this card says. It says inspiration. So definitely time to follow your inspirations. Again, I think, I talk about this all the time, that I think, you might want to start a business, but maybe you feel like you should watch a movie. And, the problem is most people are like, oh, no, they think, oh, I have to work hard to start this business and not watch the movie. But you never know. The movie might lead you to some answers for your business, or might give you an idea for your business. Or maybe you watch your movie, and because you're watching the movie, maybe after you watch the movie, you're like, you know what, that was a long movie. I need to go get some coffee. You go to a coffee shop, maybe you meet a person who tells you how to start the business or whatever. So you never know. Again, I would be following your inspirations. With the Page of Swords, you have this empathy card here. Really, I feel like you need to have empathy for yourself. I feel like you need to care enough about yourself to, again, dig into the pain to find the success, right? Dig into the pains that you've been through and get something for it. I also feel like you need to have enough empathy for yourself to be curious, to be a person who thinks they deserve answers to questions, right? Sometimes I think we don't ask questions because we're afraid of looking stupid, right? But maybe maybe by doing that, what you're really telling yourself is that you don't deserve answers. So again, I feel like you need to be careful of that. I don't know. That's what the crazy message is popping into my head here, Aquarius. Next, for your fifth tip, you have this sea glass. It says your future is being rewritten. Metamorphosis. You are definitely going through a major metamorphosis here. I always talk about reinvention because, the Magician, for example, comes up a lot. And it just seems to me like we are in a time of metamorphosis, which I do believe we are. I always say that, when Pluto enters into Aquarius, it's starting its journey away from Earth. When Pluto is in Capricorn, it's as close to Earth as it possibly can be. When it goes into Aquarius, it's starting its journey out, away from Earth. Pluto has a highly elliptical orbit, so it's going away from Earth. Clearly a time of significant change, metamorphosis, reinvention. So I feel like everyone could be reinventing themselves right now, or changing something in some way. You have the King of Wands, the Eight of Cups, and the Hierophant here. I do feel there could be new love in the form of a King of Wands type person coming in for you. I feel like this is this is the King of Wands to the Page of Wands. It's the in-between energy. And again, I feel maybe you're realizing that past people were really just immature, and now you're attracting something that's more mature. I also feel that you are becoming more brave, and this is part of this metamorphosis, this change that you are going through. And I feel like you're learning how to be bold and assertive. You're learning how to stick up for yourself. And this is also part of the change. And I feel that it is leading to the Nine of Cups. This is actually the Eight of Cups, but it's the Eight of Cups to the Nine of Cups. And so I feel you're finding fulfillment. I also feel that you are learning to walk away from things that no longer serve you. I have a feeling that by the time we get to this next set of eclipses here this year, that's when you're really going to notice a change. I'm getting October, November, December, basically that last quarter of the year is, I feel you're feeling much more different, and you can also be alone, for example. I'm not saying you will be alone. I'm just saying that I feel like you can be alone, you can take care of yourself and support yourself. And there's a certain sense of knowing who you are here. And it's not always the easiest. I do get that here. Like I was saying earlier in the reading, it's almost as if I don't want this to sound like a criticism here, Aquarius. That's not, I'm not like calling you out, as I always say to you. I feel like I always say this to Aquarius, but it's not like a criticism. I just feel I get the feelings of jumping from a relationship to relationship to relationship. I'm not even saying that's what you've done. Maybe you haven't, right? But that's just the vibe I get here. So I don't want you to feel like I'm picking on you or anything like that. But it's almost as if you have learned how to be on your own, or kind of deal with yourself, or you're truly like listening to yourself or getting comfortable with yourself. And I hope that, I don't know, I hope that makes sense, but that's like the vibe I get here. I feel like it's super freaking powerful. It's a good thing. This is not a bad thing. It's like you're trusting yourself more. You're taking risks because of this. You're following your inspirations, which is going to lead to success and all that other stuff. You have the Hierophant to the Lovers here, so definitely could be love coming in for you because of these changes that you're making. But I also feel like you're better off. You're better off at making decisions. The Lovers is really kind of an energy of being at a crossroads, having a choice to make. And because you're trusting yourself more, I feel like you're better at making choices or making your own decisions. And that seems to me like what is going on here. I feel this is a very good, very much. There's like a certain maturity that is going on here for you. With the King of Wands, you have this restlessness card. Yes, everyone's had this. You have a lot of repeating cards here that everyone else has had. But what I would say is, it seems to me like there could be a very restless energy in the astrology. I think we need to take that restless energy and channel it into something. So don't just be restless. If you feel restless, go do something. Go do a puzzle. Go for a walk. Go do something creative. Again, I think when we let restless energy just sit, that's when it becomes destructive. And again, other people have had this message, so do something with it. With the Eight of Cups, you have this risk card. Definitely time for you to take some risks. These risks are more personal risk. This is being alone. This is learning how to handle yourself. This is learning what makes you happy and not needing other people to make you happy, right? So, I feel a lot of you could be working on those things, but that's going to be the thing that changes your life the most at this time. And again, I'm not even saying you need to be on your own, right? I'm not even saying you have to be alone or anything like that, but this is definitely something you're working on. So, and it's probably going to lead to this, reinvention energy. With the Hierophant, you have this innovation card. Yes, I mean, again, we are in this major time of innovation, in reinvention, and invention. All those words are popping into my head. So any unique ideas you have, any ideas that you have to create something new in life, come up with new ideas to reinvent yourself, whatever the case may be, I would do it. It's going to lead to a lot of success for you, for sure. But this is a pretty straightforward reading for you. I would say, even though it's like I said 5 things, I'm really just getting like one thing, really, is just, kind of focusing on yourself. Like I said, changing yourself, looking at, being alone, right? Maybe even if you're with a person, that's fine, right? But maybe you need to take some time for yourself to explore ideas that bring you fulfillment, that bring you excitement. And that's what is going on here. So I don't know. I feel it's a good thing, though. Love it. So thank you for being here, and definitely enjoy the rest of your year.